Getting it started off at number 30 with Lucas Giolito, who had a good bounce-back year with the Red Sox. I've been going to the Diamondbacks, whose rotation is looking pretty bad so far, especially with Corbin Burnes being out for most of the season. I have Chris Bassett signing with the Angels. The Angels need starting pitching help and were bottom four in pretty much every starting pitching stat. Luke Weaver had a solid year even after struggling the second half of the season, which continued into the postseason, but his performance overall for the past 2 years will have a lot of teams interested. I have him coming back to the Yankees. Ryan Helsley had a nightmare second half last year after being traded to the Mets, posting a 7.2 ERA after finishing last year top 10 in Cy Young voting. He's one of the hardest throwers in the league, but his fastball was getting lit up last year, but I still think he can be one of the better closers in the league. I have him signing with the Cubs to form a flame-throwing setup and closer duo with Helsley and Palencia. Gleyber Torres had a bit of a bounce-back year with Detroit and was an all-star. I have him signing with the Guardians, who desperately need middle infield help with players who can hit. Merrill Kelly is 37 but is still pitching well and will be a great middle-of-the-rotation guy for a lot of playoff teams. I have Kelly signing with the Padres, who are going to be pretty thin on starting pitching, losing Yu Darvish and potentially King and Cease too. Jorge Polanco had a great bounce-back year, doubling his WAR from the season prior. I have him staying with the Mariners, who need some stability in the lineup instead of relying on their top prospects to work out right away. Devin Williams had really high expectations coming into 2025 with the Yankees, but was a huge disappointment, posting a near 5 ERA. I think Williams will be fine and might just need to go back to a mid to smaller market team to succeed. I have Williams signing with the Tigers, who didn't have a great bullpen and were dead last in strikeouts, which was Williams' strong suit. JT Realmuto is 34 and coming off of his worst year with the Phillies. He still puts up solid numbers and is great at throwing out runners, but it's most likely he won't get better the next few years and he's near the end of his career. I think Philly brings him back because they don't really have any other options at catcher, so they might really not have a choice. It was kind of surprising the Cubs didn't want to bring Imanol back after being pretty solid, but the thing is he doesn't throw hard at all, which got him exposed in the playoffs. I have him signing with the Giants, who need rotation help if they want to be a playoff team. Zach Gallen had a rough year, having an abysmal first half of the season, and had the worst ERA in baseball for some time, but he did pitch better towards the end of the season. I think the Gallen we saw this year is closer to the true Gallen. I don't really expect them to get back to playing at an all-star level. I have the Astros signing him on a one-year prove-it deal because of their desperate need for starting pitching. Robert Suarez was a shutdown closer for the Padres, posting great numbers last season. With how stacked the Padres bullpen is, they most likely won't bring him back. I have the Dodgers signing him because their bullpen really started to get exposed late last season. Easily the most intriguing free agent is Luis Arraez, who is the definition of a contact guy that never strikes out. But he didn't even hit 300 last year and isn't getting on base as much as he should and plays bad defense. I have him signing with the Angels, who need infield help and were dead last in batting average last year. Trent Grisham had an unexpected breakout year last year, having the best year of his career, hitting 34 home runs with an 811 OPS. Teams might be a little cautious just in case he was a one-year wonder, but the advanced stats look pretty good. I think he'll sign with the Rangers to fill their center field hole. Kazuma Okamura is coming over from the Japanese League, where he hit 322 with a 992 OPS last season. I have him signing with the Red Sox, who need a first base upgrade and third base if Bregman leaves. Josh Naylor had a great season after coming over to Seattle and was a big reason they made the ALCS. I think the Mariners bring Naylor back and they don't really have anyone that could replace him at first. Eugenio Suarez hit 49 home runs last year and had an 824 OPS, but did struggle towards the end of the season after being traded to Seattle. I think Suarez returns to Detroit, who needs more power in the infield. Framber Valdez has pitched very well with Houston and done a solid job being their ace. I have him signing with the Mets, who are in need of an ace this offseason. Edwin Diaz opted out of the last 2 years, $37 million on his contract, and was one of the best closers in baseball last year, posting a 1.63 ERA and .87 WHIP. I think the Mets bring him back, even if that means they have to overpay him because they can't lose their star closer. Tetsuya Imai is coming over from the Japanese League and had a 1.92 ERA and .89 WHIP last season, and will conduct a lot of interest. I have the Giants signing Amai, and they've been linked to him and could use another starter. Ranger Suarez really knows how to pitch by avoiding barrels and hard contact despite throwing pretty slow, and he's still around league average in strikeouts with good off-speed pitches. I think he signs with the Braves to strengthen the rotation even more and to not be completely screwed if there are a bunch of injuries like last season. Michael King opted out of his deal with the Padres and pitched very good the past 2 seasons after transitioning to a starter. His unique delivery generates a lot of movement on his pitches. I think King will go to Toronto, who could use another top guy in the rotation. Miri Akimo dominated the Japan League last year, hitting 24 bombs with a 1,051 OPS in only 69 games. I have him signing with Seattle, who needs a third baseman if Suarez leaves. Cease had an up and down year last year, and it's almost like he's only good every other year. He had a 4.55 ERA last year, but his expected numbers are a lot better, and he did lead all qualified starters in strikeouts per nine. I think he signs with Baltimore, who doesn't really have an ace except for maybe Rogers, for someone that can lead that rotation. Alonso opted out of his contract and would demand a huge contract, but he had a great bounce back year with the Mets after no one really wanted to sign him last offseason, and he's proved he's one of the best hitters in the league. I think he comes back to the Mets. Cody Bellinger had a great year after being traded to the Yankees by the Cubs for pretty much nothing, and had a bounce back year posting an above 800 OPS. I think he signs with the Mets, who need a center fielder, and feel that he'll definitely be able to elevate them to a playoff team. Bichette had a bounce back year this year, and is back to his all-star self after an atrocious 2024. I think Toronto brings him back because they don't have any other good options at short, and they were just so close to winning a World Series, and they probably want to run it back. If it wasn't for Ohtani, Schwarber easily walks away with the MVP as a DH, hitting 56 home runs and being near the top in pretty much every offensive statistic. I think Philly brings him back because their time to win a championship is running out, and losing Schwarber would be a big hit for the offense. Bregman had a really good year with Boston last year and still is it offensively and is an elite defender. I think Boston ends up bringing him back, and they'll probably either sign Bregman or Alonso because they need help on the corner infield. Kyle Tucker is going to get a bag this winter. He did struggle the second half of last season, but his stats are still very good overall, having an 841 OPS, and that's considered a down year for him. I predict Tucker will go to the Dodgers because they don't really have a star outfielder and are one of the few teams that can afford him.